Hello everyone, welcome to your 9-5 lesson on something called completing the square. All right, our learning target for this lesson, we will be able to use completing the square to solve quadratic equations. So that's great, we're going to learn another way to solve these equations. We will be able to solve a quadratic trinomial by completing the square to transform a quadratic equation into a perfect square trinomial. We will also be able to use completing the square to write a quadratic equation in vertex form. All right, so completing the square, what is it, right? So it is a method used to take x squared plus bx and create a perfect square trinomial. Which can then be factored. So that ultimately will be our goal, is to create a trinomial that we can factor. You'll see how we do that in the next video. Binomial factor. So you guys have been working with binomial factors. For example, let's say we have x squared plus 5x plus 6. If I want to factor this, I'm looking for factors of 6 that add up to 5, and we'll come up with 2 and 3. So in factored form, that looks like x plus 2 times x plus 3. So x plus 2, oh that's messy, is a binomial factor. So x plus 2 is a factor, x plus 3 is a factor. We call it a binomial factor because it has two terms. So it's a factor that has two terms, which means that x plus 3 is 1 also. Just one more example. Let's say you had x squared plus 6x plus 9. We would look for factors of 9 that add up to 6, and we get 3 and 3. So when you have the same factor twice, we're just going to write that as x plus 3 with a squared on the outside. This x plus 3 is a binomial factor. And by the way, this x squared plus 6x plus 9, that's an example of a perfect square trinomial that will factor into the same two binomial factors, which is why we write it once with a squared. All right, let's take a look at how to do this completing the square in our next video.